Hi, I'm Devin Stewart from the Carnegie Council. For more than 95 years, the Carnegie Council has been promoting ethics in international affairs. Please consider donating to our annual fund by going to carnegiecouncil.org and click on support. Thank you very much.
I think if one is honest, one has to say that the Security Council is a failure when it comes to governing, when it comes to maintaining international peace and security. I'd be interested in discussing that with you, but I don't see how one can give the Security Council anything other than a failing grade when it comes to that over the course of its history. And I don't see any signs that it's dramatically improving its performance. That, I think, is where a lot of conversations about the UN and the Security Council end, particularly here in the United States. They say the Council has failed, the Council is useless, it may even be counterproductive. But I argue that there's another way, another vision for seeing the Security Council that leaves me with a more sanguine view of the Council. That is what I call the concert function. And the focus here is not on the external problems that the Security Council needs to solve and how effective it is at solving them. Instead, the focus is on how serving together on the Security Council affects relations between the major powers, between the permanent members. Does sitting down in a room together day after day, working on all of these issues, affect US-Russian relations, US-Chinese relations, British-French relations? That is the vision that I think yields a much more positive view of the Security Council, and I'll just give you a couple ways in which I think the Security Council is useful as a tool for the major powers in managing their own relations. First of all, serving together on the Security Council increases diplomatic contacts and deepens linkages. I wanted to try to, and this is particularly between the permanent members, I went back and I wanted to try to kind of quantify this. So I went back and looked at where US Secretaries of State have traveled since 1990 on official trips. And I compared how many times they've traveled to the other members, the territory of the other members of the Permanent Five, versus how many times they've traveled to other major powers that aren't permanent members of the Council, such as India, Brazil, Germany, and Japan. And I found that US Secretaries of State have traveled twice as often to the territory of other members of the Permanent Five. So this, I think, this is obviously not conclusive evidence, but it's suggestive that serving together on the Security Council deepens the linkages between the permanent members. I had an interview with a former German ambassador on the Council, Gunter Pleuger, who I think was in a rather unique position to assess this as an ambassador of a major power that is not a permanent member. And his view was that the permanent members, the P-5, treat each other differently than they treat other countries. They treat each other differently because they need each other on the Council all the time on a variety of different issues. They're constantly working on 6, 8, 10 different issues on which they need each other's votes. So that affects their relationship, I argue.